Oh, that's real good.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our channel Penny Lesson. We talk about everything finance, from tips on making money and proper investing to news about the different economies and situations affecting the global markets. The goal of this channel is not only to teach you how to be more financially responsible but also to teach you how to be more aware of global events. So why not just sit back and relax while we tell you what's happening in the finance sphere? Be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to be constantly updated on my latest videos. Remember, one penny lesson a day keeps being penny less away. Raymond Thomas Dalio, better known as Ray Dalio, is an American billionaire investor and hedge fund manager. Today, he explains the paradigm shifts and what this would mean in the field of economics and investing. With the economic conditions the way it is now, how much worse could it be for the future? Why is he selling all his stocks? In this video, we will have Raoul Pal tell his insight into the current state of events through his perspective. There are inevitably paradigm shifts over time. One becomes accustomed to a particular setting, and then there are times when one transitions to a very different environment. For instance, the 1920s and 1930s couldn't have been more different. People were therefore astonished by the change from the 1920s to the 1930s. Thus, you reach times when something has been ongoing for a while, such as quantitative easing, as well as the relaxation of monetary policy. For instance, the paradigm of leveraging up must end. However, people extrapolate what happened in the past later in cycles, which is why surprises occur. There are always these paradigm shifts, and it is incredibly beneficial to take a step back and view history from a longer-term perspective. The Fed made a mistake, and the Fed is aware that its assumption that this is a typical cycle was incorrect, and they believed that if you boost GDP and reduce unemployment, inflation would result. For a variety of reasons, the world we live in today is different. A large amount of unfilled capacity, a world where everything is digitized, etc. The main issue is not that. The significant development is that the ability of central banks to stimulate the economy is about to expire. The main issue is that our asymmetric risk is significant. We are late in a cycle, so a slump will occur if the economy weakens. The ability of central banks to stimulate the economy and turn that around is lacking. And that's taking place at a moment of extreme wealth polarity. Imagine what it will be like when we experience a downturn, and central banks cannot respond to it at the left and right, or the rich and the poor are at each other's throats now, which is during good times. These worsening conditions around the world force the Fed to change its policy after the year. The key is being aware of the changes we're discussing and reacting to them. First and foremost, any portfolio needs to have the appropriate level of diversification. Gold plays a significant role in portfolio diversification, but let me be clear. Anyone shouldn't, in my opinion, have a concentrated portfolio. Okay, so let's focus on one point I made. Building a balanced portfolio is the most crucial thing investors can do at the moment, because riches can be moved but not so much destroyed. Therefore, the world at this time seems to me to be leverage lengthy. To put it another way, there has been a lot of borrowing to purchase assets to acquire businesses. Businesses have taken out loans to buy back their stock, among other things. The markets are in that entire leverage long move. The kind of portfolio I'm describing has a weakness, and one asset that helps diversify that is gold. I think it should always make up a specific portion of a portfolio because different environments affect portfolio diversification differently. Additionally, I believe that the current riskier and more likely climate makes it very challenging to stimulate the economy. Currently, there is a desire to devalue currencies. Consider a bond to be the actual medium of exchange. As a result, when one owns a bond or other debt instrument, they receive a large sum of money over time. There is no effective monetary policy to cut interest rates and stimulate the economy when there are several liabilities like those mentioned, numerous debts, or even unfunded obligations like pension or health care obligations. More large deficits must be run in addition to money being printed. We're going to enter a situation where bigger deficits are being monetized more and more. And in a situation like that, currencies lose value. Over the following 2 to 3 years, there will be a downturn in evolution. There will be a situation where political concerns, debt restructurings, and excess capacity will all be factors. There will be a consequence and danger. Recessions are unavoidable, and you can see this happening all across the world. The only issue is when. Asia, you could see right through it. It was seen in Europe. Additionally, it was visible in the United States. Perhaps we should take a step back, consider the major issues, and then assign a timeline to them. We are quite late in both the short-term and long-term debt cycles, which affects central banks' ability to create stimulus. It can be evaluated by their capacity to carry out quantitative easing, cut interest rates significantly, and make that buy. There's a difficulty there. However, the issue won't arise right away. Rather, it will in the next year or two. You can observe it throughout Europe, Japan, and to a lesser extent, the United States. Additionally, there is a wealth divide. We also have the traditional political strife that is reminiscent of the 1930s because of the income gap. That indicates that both of those have stronger polarity and extremes. And it will be important because changing policies will have a significant impact. For instance, when corporate taxes are reduced, equities rise because investors pay more for their stocks since they receive more money after taxes. That will alter. Thus, we have a polarity that is strikingly similar to that of the 1930s, as well as an incapacity to excite in the same way. Additionally, China, a developing nation, poses a threat to the United States, an established nation, and that develops a narrative that evokes a protectionist atmosphere reminiscent of the 1930s. Additionally, it has repercussions for various forms of conflict and, to be honest, clogs the economy's efficiency. Take the supply lines as an example. In other words, we created an economy in which supply chains that functioned in a specific way were the source of interdependency and efficiency. Personal security is now necessary as we move into this hostile environment for the security of the nations as they march toward independence. I don't want your technologies, the United States declares, and I can't rely on you giving me your technologies, China counters. And that alters that division, changes the dynamic's nature, which has an impact on the economy. The late 1930s are very similar to those influences. They'll be in charge. They are evolutionary factors, but they'll manifest in a paradigm change over the next 1 to 3 years. The planet we will soon inhabit is extremely dissimilar from the one we just left. Since 2008, central banks have been creating money to stimulate the economy, but that practice has reached its limit. And for that reason, a paradigm change will occur. How would you define depression? Similar to what took place in the 1930s. Therefore, from 1929 to 1932, there was a decline in the economy, double-digit unemployment, and a decline on the order of around 10%. Are we in that circumstance? Yes. How was that handled? They printed a lot of money, and the government then launched similar initiatives to those that are currently in place. There are no interest rates. The same. And from there, the money leads to an expansion. How soon does the stock market rise above its peaks? How long does it take the economy to recover from its previous highs? Quite some time. Are we in that circumstance? We are in that, indeed. That has occurred frequently throughout history. Frequently, it's only the most recent. There is a framework for that as well. Therefore, no, this is not a recession. This is a breakdown of the operation I was just explaining, namely how it dealt with the creation of credit and money, which is the situation we're in right now. You'll observe a combination of redistribution and money printing. and it will take about 2 to 3 years to complete that process before you have to rebuild, which is done creatively. Ingenuity has been the most powerful force throughout history. Therefore, these restructurings will take place. The greatest strength is that which comes from that adaptation. I conducted a study that shows the actual GDP over 500 years. In other words, there is a line in economic activity there. These depressions, which are merely wiggles as we call them, are also not visible on that line. When you look at that piece and dive into it, it appears like the GDP is down by 10%. The unemployment rate is up, and nothing has changed. And because the power of adaptation and creativity is the greatest, if we can work well together, the world will be radically different, and a new world order will exist. But given that all we are now dealing with is money and credit, it will pass and be innovative. There you have it. Quite possibly the greatest historical paradigm shift. What do you think of Ray Dalio's sentiments? Do you agree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Wow, was that news? Why not ponder it? Want to know the latest? Comment if you want more articles like this. This video is just one of many videos on my channel that brings you the latest news about the world of global finance and economics. So go hit that subscribe button if you don't miss out on content like these. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. Thank you for all your support, and I'll see you again next time. Remember, 1 penny lesson a day keeps being penny less away. Cheers.